Interview presentation for SOCH 424 Women in Health by Alexandra Mei. The person that I interviewed is named Celia Ramos. She is in her early 40s. She is a wife and mother of three. She is a full-time cosmetologist, a Hispanic woman that is an immigrant from Mexico with legal status here in the United States, and is a current patient at the Mayo Clinic. I chose Celia as my interviewee because she was diagnosed with breast cancer nearly 5 years ago. She discovered a lump on her breast through a self breast exam. She then brought it to the attention of her gynecologist, where they then performed a biopsy, and then she received the news that she did, in fact, have cancer. She did receive a double mastectomy, and she was in remission for nearly 1 year after the surgery. Then the cancer had metastasized to her liver and brain. She has been receiving chemo and radiation from the Mayo Clinic for the past 3 years as of December 2018. Feminist activists have really made tremendous progress with breast cancer awareness and encouraging self examinations like the one that Celia performed on herself. The primary issues that Celia has faced so far are insurance coverage and a lack of emotional support from the medical establishment. This chart here is from the National Breast Cancer Foundation, and it just displays why metastatic cancer, breast cancer, is a problem today, and how a third of women with breast cancer will also have metastatic breast cancer later in life. This is exactly what my interviewee, Celia Ramos, has experienced. Physically, Celia feels really good. She does feel ill for a few days after she receives her chemo treatments, but other than those few days, she is still able to work full time. Emotionally, she describes herself as a glass half full type person. She's extremely positive. She definitely does not let this disease bring her down. A psycho oncology journal reports that an optimistic attitude can attribute to health benefits and be extremely beneficial when coping with the diagnosis of cancer. Celia definitely attributes her current well being partially to her great attitude. Celia did say that the Mayo Clinic offers a support network for hospice patients, but she would definitely say that her biggest support network is her family, especially her mother and husband. They've both been extremely helpful and supportive throughout this process. And also, since she is a hairstylist, her clientele have also been extremely understanding and supportive for her. Overall, Celia is really satisfied with the experience that she's had at the Mayo Clinic. When she first received the news of her breast cancer, she was sent to the Ironwood Cancer and Research Centers, and they were actually refusing to begin her treatment until her insurance cleared. So she was then referred to the Mayo Clinic, where before her insurance was even cleared, the doctors had a treatment plan for her and began treatment that same day. The one and only discrepancy that Celia has had with the Mayo Clinic is they actually informed her of her liver and brain cancer by a phone call on Christmas Eve, which is just an absolutely devastating way and a devastating time to hear that kind of news. The main obstacle that Celia has faced is issues with her insurance coverage. She has been able to overcome that since seeking treatment with the Mayo Clinic. The other kind of obstacle that she's facing is even with her insurance, she has enormous medical bills that she is facing. She constantly lives in fear every day, knowing that her family will inherit a substantial amount of medical debt, especially since she is considered a terminally ill patient. She really doesn't know how long she has, and she just fears every day that knowing that her family will take on that enormous amount of debt. Overall, she feels like she's been treated extremely fairly by the medical establishment and was unable to think of any example on how she was treated unfairly based on her gender, race, or ethnicity. Celia feels that medically women are treated pretty well with her disease by the medical establishment. She feels they are lacking when it comes to emotional support for women. In an ideal world for her, women need more counseling and support in order to uplift their spirits and attitudes. She believes women need to learn better ways of coping with cancer and not allowing it to bring them down or define them. An article by the Critical Public Health Journal stated that many clinicians have little to no training on communication with patients, which leave many patients feeling dissatisfied emotionally. Celia felt pretty dissatisfied, especially when she received news of her cancer on Christmas Eve. In conclusion, the most important things I've learned through this interview and through research is that the key to improvement for women's health is an open dialogue about women's health issues and spreading more information and awareness about these issues. We definitely need to establish an ongoing scientific conversation and find out new avenues that help get information out there. These issues need to be supported by the institutional establishments, which would further advance the improvements of women's health. I believe that overall awareness and better emotional support from the medical establishment are paramount in helping improve the treatment of women with cancer.